Susan sat quietly in the polished wooden pew. The air in the church felt heavy. She was here for her friend Sarah. Sarah's husband Mark was gone. He had died suddenly, far too young. Susan looked around. So many faces looked drawn and pale. The organ played soft, mournful music. This was a day for goodbyes. She clutched her purse tightly in her lap. Her own heart felt a strange mix of sorrow for Sarah and an unsettling disquiet within herself. Funerals always made her think. Today the questions felt sharper, more urgent. Mark had been so full of life. Now only memories of him remained. Susan thought about her own life, her own husband, David. A faint, uncomfortable feeling began to stir deep inside her, a feeling she had ignored for too long. Susan watched Sarah walk slowly down the aisle. Sarah was supported by her eldest son. Her face was a mask of grief. The weight of this loss pressed down on everyone, a shared burden of sorrow that connected them all in their quiet mourning. The service began, and the raw emotion in the church intensified. Sarah sat in the front pew, her shoulders shaking. Her two young children were beside her. The little girl, Lily, kept looking around. She seemed confused, her small hand clutching her mother's arm. Tom, the older boy, tried to be strong, but tears streamed silently down his young face. Seeing them so lost and heartbroken made Susan's chest ache with a deep, empathetic pain. During the eulogies, friends and family shared stories about Mark. They spoke of his kindness, his humor, his love for Sarah and the children. Each word painted a picture of a good man, a man who would be terribly missed. Sarah listened, sometimes a small, sad smile touching her lips. Other times, fresh waves of tears would overcome her. Susan watched her friend. She saw the depth of Sarah's love for Mark. She saw the terrible emptiness his death had created in her life. The collective sorrow in the room was palpable. Driving home from the funeral, Susan felt a profound shift within her. The world outside her car window seemed muted. Her mind kept replaying scenes from the service. Sarah's tear-streaked face, the children's lost expressions, the heartfelt words spoken about Mark. These images were like a mirror. They reflected not just Sarah's loss, but also something about Susan's own life. Something she had been avoiding looking at too closely for a very long time. She thought about her husband, David. He was a good man, a steady man. But when was the last time she had truly told him that? When was the last time she had shown him how much she valued him? Lately, their conversations had been mostly about household chores, or about bills that needed paying, or about small irritations that seemed to magnify over time. She remembered snapping at him last week. How small that seemed now. Section 4. The Dawn of Appreciation. Seeing David anew. As Susan continued her drive, a new feeling began to emerge. It pushed through the sadness and the shame. It was a feeling of dawning appreciation. She started to think about David differently, not as the man who forgot to take out the trash, but as the man who held her hand during scary movies. The man who listened patiently, even when she was just venting. The man who had stood by her through thick and thin, through job losses and family illnesses, always a steadfast support. She remembered his quiet strength, his gentle humor, the way his eyes crinkled at the corners when he smiled. These were the things that mattered. These were the qualities that had drawn her to him years ago. How had they become overshadowed by daily frustrations? Mark's eulogy had highlighted his best qualities. Susan realized David had so many wonderful qualities too. Qualities she had stopped noticing. Qualities she had stopped acknowledging, both to him and to herself. It was time to change that. The contrast between her past behavior and this newfound appreciation was stark. She saw that clearly now, and the realization was painful, but also liberating. A sense of urgency filled her. She didn't want to waste another moment. Section 5. A new beginning at home. A change of heart. When Susan finally pulled into her driveway, her heart felt lighter than it had in a long time. The sadness for Sarah was still there, a gentle ache, but it was now accompanied by a quiet resolve. She walked into the house. It was quiet. David wasn't home from work yet. Usually, she might have started tidying up, perhaps feeling a little resentful if things were out of place. Today, she just stood in the hallway for a moment. She looked around her home with new eyes. This was their space, their shared life. She decided she wouldn't greet David with a list of things that needed doing, or with a complaint about her day. Instead, she would greet him with warmth, with genuine affection. She wanted him to feel loved and appreciated the moment he walked through the door. She thought about the small gestures she could make, a proper hug. Section 6. Cherishing every moment. The gift of presents. The sound of David's key in the lock made Susan's heart skip a beat. He walked in, looking a little tired from his day. Usually, Susan might have commented on his tiredness or immediately launched into her own day's events. Tonight was different. She walked towards him, a soft smile on her face. Before he could even put his bag down, she wrapped her arms around him in a warm, lingering hug. "Welcome home," she said softly, her voice full of a tenderness that had been missing for too long. "I'm so glad to see you." David was visibly surprised. He hugged her back, a little uncertainly at first, then more firmly. "Everything okay?" he asked, searching her eyes. "Yes," Susan said, and she truly meant it. "Everything is more than okay. I really appreciate you, David. I love you." She said the words slowly, letting him feel their weight, their sincerity. A slow smile spread across his face. It was a genuine, happy smile, one that reached his eyes. He held her a moment longer, a silent understanding passing between them. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more great contents. Hit the bell icon so you never miss any of my updates.